Thanks for tuning in to Double Tap here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can get a notification every time we've got a brand new video just like this to share with you. In this video from this week's episode, we follow up from previous conversations with Freedom Scientific's Matt Ater, and Stephen Scott walks us through some of his favorite features and favorite headsets from Sennheiser, Plantronics, and Logitech, and much more.
You're watching Double Tap TV.
Marc, our guest this week is the Vice President of Software and Corporate Business Development for Freedom Scientific, more commonly known as the company that creates and, in this case, updates the JAWS screen reader every single year. Matt, thank you for being here. Let's just dive right in. What can people look forward to in the 2023 version of JAWS?
So there's a couple of things to always note is that, in the new world of software development and the fact that we release 6-7 times during the year, we're releasing features throughout the year. So it's not just done as a splash at one time. There's a couple of notable things that I'll mention. One is JAWS on ARM or ARM. That is part of the default package. It was put out as a beta in July, but it's part of the default package in the 2023 release. And that means that if you download it and install it on an ARM device, you don't have to actually go download it separately. That's probably, exciting for lots of people, especially those on Mac who are going to go test it on Macs or people who have Surface Books. But the majority of folks aren't running ARM devices, and probably the majority of people can't even afford an ARM device because they're more expensive devices.
Okay, so we'll watch with interest on that one specifically. What else is new, Matt?
Throughout the years, we've heard, sometimes websites are not accessible, and there's things on the website that aren't being pointed out to you because someone didn't tag it rightly for things like headings. They just use font changes and things like that. So we added a really cool feature. We started back in the, I want to say, early on in the year in 2022 developing, and it's called Smart Glance. And what this does is it looks for things that on the page that should have been tagged as a heading or should have been tagged in some way to indicate that this was important. And it kind of just allows you to go find those things on the page in case they're useful to you. Now, it doesn't mean that it's correct in that, this is left up to, looking at the page, looking at the fonts, looking at the changes to see if that's relevant based on the rest of the page. And so sometimes there's going to be pages where you say this isn't useful, and other pages it's going to be useful, and you're going to have to make those choices for yourself.
Okay, so lots in JAWS 2023 to get excited about. Now, JAWS is the screen reader, often used by blind people. ZoomText, though, is a magnification and screen reading package that is aimed at low vision users. And of course, there's Fusion 2, which marries the features of JAWS and ZoomText into one package for those who want to eventually make the transition from using the screen to just voice. So what's new in ZoomText?
Well, one of the major things that we're releasing here with the 2023 release for ZoomText and Fusion, and keep in mind Fusion gets all the JAWS features as well, is something called Tethered View. And one of the problems being low vision and somebody who uses this product myself, and I know others who do as well, is that when you're typing in an area, and let's use the start menu as an example as a beginning stage for this, and we've added a tethered view to two things to start with. One is the start menu and the other one's an Excel for formulas. So when I'm typing in the start menu, my only focus is where I'm typing. I don't get to see the things that it found at the top of the window, including the first item, which say, if you typed Outlook, you type O, then you type U, and it's probably going to find Outlook at this point. If you typed O, it may have found something else like Office, or I'm pretending I don't know what it would have found. But, and so by having it tethered, you're seeing the edit box where you're typing, and right above it, the first item that it found, rather than the bottom item that it found, because it's not even highlighted and not on the screen. And so for somebody who's low vision, it's kind of critical because you don't want to take your mouse and move back up and see what it found. The same goes with Excel. You could be moving to a cell, and that cell, and if I was running JAWS, it would say has formula. And if you pressed F2, you can hear the formula. Well, with this tethered view, there's a little plus button. I think it's a plus button. Here's a low vision person says, hey, I don't know what that is, but it's it's a button in the corner right above the cell, and you click it, and boom, the formula is in view with the contents of the cell. And so these are like the first two critical ones we've added, and you're going to see others coming along the way, and they'll come throughout the product. They're not going to happen, you're not going to see that in the first release. You won't see additional items. You're going to see some in the December release. You'll see some in other releases. And this feature is going to be unbelievable for low vision people, because there's nothing worse than sitting there and you're like, oh, what's the formula? And then you take, and if you don't know, F2 opens up the formula cell, the cell, so you can see the formula. You're now taking your mouse to scroll to the top of the window to put focus on the formula.
Matt, JAWS is so integrated into the Windows operating system. Unlike other, software packages, they create it, they release it, and that's it until the next version. Are you guys constantly developing so you can keep up with all the Windows updates that come out to make sure that you work for absolutely everything in the OS?
Yeah, and I always love to remind people about the differences between box software and now delivered software. And when we think back of the time when you used to go to the store to even buy Windows or Office, and you'd get the box, or even JAWS, you would get a box in the mail with the tapes or the CDs or whatever it came with at the time, and that's what you got. And then the releases would be shipped out in a CD once a year, and then you could download the updates. But if we delivered that way today, we wouldn't be able to fix the things in the browser changes, the productivity suite changes, and the productivity suites on Google or Microsoft Office. And in both cases, they're delivered in every 4 to 6 weeks, or just when you turn on your computer one day. And so we have to continually update. So when you only hear about these 3 or 4 or 5 things that have been coming in 2023, it doesn't mean there's a lot of that there isn't a lot of other changes still happening, because we're still having to make changes for Windows 11 that changes, Windows 10, and so on.
Matt Ater, Vice President of Software and Corporate Business Development, thank you for coming on and updating us on the latest with JAWS and ZoomText.
Love it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. But Mark, can we get back to headsets? Because look, I like my headsets, and I like to talk about headsets, and I know I did a bit of a takeover once with keyboards, but can we maybe talk about headsets next?
Absolutely. How about you stick around, and after the break, we'll be back here on Double Tap TV with more headset talk.
Can't get enough Double Tap TV? Subscribe to the podcast and get your fill of Double Tap every day. Visit doubletaponair.com and follow us now. Double Tap TV will be right back.
Thanks for watching this Double Tap video. Again, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget the notification bell. It will help you get notified when we've got a brand new video just like this to share with you.